It's March 1st. Wow, we're coming up on our 4-year anniversary of doing Drinks Professionals Networks every first Friday. So that's pretty cool. Thank you all. And I'm thrilled to see some familiar faces, but also several new ones today. And as we wait for a few other people to join us, why don't we start by saying, well, Rich, I think you've been on. Have you been on once
It's
before?
been a while. It's been a while,
It's
but
been a while.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So you probably have something to say about direct to consumer shipping.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think I met Rich, or maybe I have.
Hey, Vanessa. Yeah, let's
Hey,
definitely connect. Let's definitely connect after this.
Okay.
And we have Daniel Yaffe. Daniel, tell
Yes.
us a little bit about you and your mission.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much, and thank you, Brian, for inviting me. And so my previous life, I was in the alcohol industry, launched a publication about spirits, beer, wine, cocktails. Ended up writing a book about whiskey. Gosh, it was like 15 years ago now. And now I run a technology company. We're a software platform for brands that are building out experiences as a form of marketing, right? So we work with distilleries that have distillery tours. Most distilleries are using our technology. If they're doing events, activations, experiential marketing, and we also have a memberships part of our platform as well, which ties into some of the D2C.
So it's kind of like, I did go to the website to look at it. So it's kind of like a combination of Eventbrite and kind of building profiles of individuals, getting demographic information, and then follow-up marketing.
Yeah. The follow. So I like to think about any road as a brain. There's two sides of the brain. One side is all the operational tools to run events, distillery tours, bartender classes, education, memberships. And then the other side of the brain is live insights and analytics. So you can start to understand who's growing with the brand as D2C is becoming more important for brands, being able to reach out to them directly, target them directly, make sure you know who you're growing with.
So when somebody is going to register to do a tour, a distillery tour, or to attend a tasting event, they're putting in, they're linking it to their social profiles as well. They're not just, I mean, is that how you're getting a lot of the data? Or is it all self-reported?
There's some that's inferred, there's some that it's self-reported. So if you go to like a number of Heaven Hill, for example, if you go to their distillery, you can actually, that's booked through our technology. So if you're a consumer, you're going in there, you're like, hey, I want to buy 3 tickets for me and friends. That's actually our technology that you're booking it through. And they're parsing that out, allowing you to capture more first-party data. So that they can remarket to you, they can grow with you, understand who you are. Do you like whiskey? Are you new to their brand, or are you their biggest fan? And then we help them parse that out and potentially invite them into membership programs.
Yeah, if I could just add, Michael, because we work with Any Road on a couple of our brands, and for us as a digital marketers, it's just another. Well, it's not just another. It's an incredible data source for the lowest hanging fruit, really, which is people who have invested hours to go to your brick and mortar and learn more about your brand and experience it. When I came into the industry, it blew my mind how many distilleries have, hundreds of thousands, if not, 500,000 people coming through every year. And when you ask them,
they don't know who they
what do you know about them? They literally, it's getting better thanks to the likes of, I would like to think, us and Any Road out there, but they'd be like, oh yeah, we don't know. We don't have a list. We don't capture anything.
Right, because someone just came in and showed up and said, hey,
they didn't book anything. They just walked through the door. But
right.
So anyway, the reason we love Any Road is that it just gives us another way to be more contextual with our marketing efforts when we retarget people, and we can remind them of the experience they had
Right.
and the cocktail that they drank, and remind them they can do that at home, and they should go online and order and
Right.
extend the relationship beyond those four walls, basically.
No, that's interesting. I think that's great. Now I have to jump to see. I see Michael Clancy is out remote somewhere. What country are you in? Are you in Ireland or are you somewhere else? Oh, you're probably at ProWine. No, it's next week, right? Uh-oh, I don't hear you.
And Michael, don't forget to unmute.
Yeah.
His
Yeah,
fingers
you-
are too cold to unmute.
I know, right?
Hi,
There you go.
folks.
There
How's
he
it
is.
going?
Hi.
Guess where I am?
Are you in Dusseldorf? Where I don't know.
I am in downtown Cincinnati, Ohio.
Oh,
I was-
you are. You're in the
Oh,
United
Lord.
States.
I
Well, it's
saw
hard
the,
to tell.
Hey.
All I see is your, your Lowry hat.
Yeah, yeah. It's bloody cold here. So yeah, we're in town here. We're doing events the next 3 days actually. Today and tomorrow and Sunday. So today in Cincinnati. So if any of you are in Cincinnati, Jungle Gyms in Fairfield, Ohio. So we'll be there tonight later on from 5 to 7. It's a public event, Irish Craft and Cask Festival, with Ohio Liquor. So us and a bunch of other Irish brands will be there, and yeah, come along and taste some of our Bart's Irish whiskey. So
Well, if I had a warning, I would have come to visit.
all right, so we're there here tonight. We're in Cleveland tomorrow, and we're in Columbus on Sunday. So if any of you happen to be in any of those cities, let me know, and I'll shoot me an email, and I'll send you on the details of where we're going to be. So
Love it.
That sounds great. So yes, you're having winter right there today, it looks like.
sorry,
You're having winter today in Ohio?
I'm having winter today in Ohio, and this seems to always happen to me when I travel to the US, because I was over back in 2018, and there was a massive big snow in Ireland, and I missed a whole lot of it because I was in the States. So anyway, there was a big snowfall last night as well in Ireland. So my kids the schools were closed and all this sort of stuff, and they were making snowmen and stuff like that. So I'm missing it all. But it's freezing here so as well.
Now you are going to ProWine next week, right?
I am going to ProWine next week, yeah. So if any folks are there, we're on the Irish stand. Again, if anyone happens to be there, let me know. Just shoot me an email, and I'll send you details of the stand number and stuff that we're on, or just look it up on my LinkedIn profile. You'll see a link, a message there on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'd be great to see anyone who's going to be there.
All right.
And if anyone happens to be in ProWine Singapore in April, I'll be there as well.
All right. Well, you're earning the miles.
Yeah, has to be done. As you all know. So
Yes. it does.
so yeah, so I'm probably going to dip off here now, guys, because we need to go and find a few things and all that. But good to see you all. And if any of you happen to rock up, let me know, or happen to be in Ohio, let me know, and be great to catch up. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Michael. Thanks for dipping in.
Cheers, folks. Bye bye.
I want
Bye.
to also Chris Hoffbauer. Chris is joining us, and you have actually you have to unmute yourself. Oh, there we go. You have a brand.
Absolutely. Hi, nice to meet everyone. My name is Chris. I run a company called Soleil, which is essentially a juicing with alcohol product, which we're manufacturing in Belgium, where I'm from. It was developed for the US market. I'm based out of Austin in Texas. And so we have a product that in terms of liquid is more similar to a freshly pressed juice, but we do add some alcohol that is distilled sugarcane. So we're classified as a distilled spirit and have to go through all the regulatory sales channels of a distilled spirit. And so, yeah, I'm curious about this group. The one thing I wanted to add is, yes, that's how it looks. That's from the website. Essentially, we're trying to replace the hand modeling of fruit. So you can actually just pour straight out of the bottle something that is modeled fruit or juiced fruit. We had initially a strong focus on the off-premise. We're still in Texas state only, and so we're working mainly with big box retail over there. Because the stuff is so mixable, we from the get-go started working and teaming up with other local craft distilleries. We can actually mix with any base spirit, and you can come up with excellent cocktails for both the home consumer that wants to have something very convenient, that doesn't need to muddle fruit and turn their kitchen into a mess, as well as the on-premise, where in on-premise setting where it's busy and bar staff wants to speed up cocktail making if there's long lines waiting. There too, it's a great modifier in that case. What we've done in the past is just because I said it's so mixable, is to team up with other brands for activations, and out of that, we now run a fully fledged tasting agency currently in the Texas market only, but we do what we call combo tastings, where we place the Soleil product with any other base spirit, which is generally not competing, and then we just share the cost of the activation between two brands, and we handle all the admin, all the 1099s, all of that, all the staffing, scheduling, and that is actually wasn't the plan initially, but it works really well. And so we first did that only for combo tastings with our brand and or another brand, but then we got approached by a few other brands if we could just not run their tasting campaigns, and so that's what we're also doing. So essentially, Soleil is a brand on its own, and then we do have a separate division, a tasting agency called Nova Collective. So if anyone is looking for help and support with feet in the streets, in Texas, we cover all the metro markets. Please feel free and reach out.
I don't know, let's see, anyone here in Texas with their products? Vanessa, do you have anything?
I am. Yeah, I'm with RDC, but I'll definitely reach out because I'm in all the Total Wines in Texas. So I definitely need to, I don't feel like flying to Texas right this second. But I do need, I want tasters out there. I'll definitely reach out for sure.
Absolutely. So we mainly work with Total Wine, and then there's this Texas local chain called Specs, which is about 160, 165 stores. They're pretty large, and those are the two main big box retail chains that compete against each other.
Yeah, I got an order from Specs too, but they gotta wait. But yeah, everything shipped out. I think I shipped out 6 pallets to Total Wines. So I gotta look and see who got what. But I definitely want to have tasting.
Do you mind sharing who your distributor is in Texas?
It's RNDC.
Okay.
RNDC is my distributor. So when you look me up on the sheet that Stephanie sent, you'll see Grayzandi Braxton Distillers. That's me, Vanessa Braxton.
Okay,
right.
Awesome.
Anything you see that says Black Mama Vodka or Black Mama, that's me.
Awesome.
Okay. Okay.
Chris, so what are your next market plans? Oh, Carrie's having it hard to hear. Are you in a crown room? Sorry.
So I want to step forward small, and we'll possibly open a second state, which we're looking closely at Florida. We are possibly going to work on a packaging revamp, because the challenge that I see is that if we are in stores, the reason why we would actually manage to put together our own internal pool of tasters and have presence in all markets is that we just ran very excessive, very intense tasting programs. And so as soon as we actually taste, as soon as somebody's in the store and explains what it is, people love it and we sell really well. If you work with big box retail and you are one of 30,000 SKUs, right, on the shelf, the probability of an impulse purchase, right, or just getting discovered by accident is pretty low. And so one of the challenges that we have is that it's possibly not fully clear from the packaging what it is. So discovery is quite a challenge. So we might start doing a packaging revamp, and if we do that, then we possibly might not expand in 2024.
Yeah, I mean, and just looking at the image, it really looks first like it's fruit juice, And then in smaller print, it says alcohol with natural flavors and then
Yeah.
distilled spirits specialty. So
Yep.
Yeah.
So we are possibly going to revamp some of the packaging
mhm,
to make it more clear to a consumer that stands in front of the shelf what it actually is.
right. Yeah. As opposed to brands that have like hard something in it or
That
Yeah.
well, yeah, and then there's some you can have very stereotypical packaging for be it a bourbon or be it a fruit juice or sparkling water or a canned
Right.
RTD where the consumer is not having to figure out what is in it, right? And that's one of the challenges that we're facing.
I mean, you've probably got this figured out already, but it seems to me that the word spirits or spirits need to be in the right where it says mango passion. It should be mango passion spirits, something like that.
Yes, so there's several different avenues how we can
Yeah.
actually get there, and
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, interesting. Let's see. Oh, Paula has joined us. How are you? Nope, you're muted.
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
Good. Nice to see you back in the group. What's happening in your world?
I am leaving Sunday to go to Abu Dhabi to receive my Forbes Award for the 50 over 50 Global International Women's Summit.
Wow.
Nice.
About
Congratulations.
that.
Wow.
Thank you. And then from there, I will go to India for 2 weeks to meet with my distributors in India and hopefully try to secure some of the Asian distribution network, which I'm focusing on right now, just because I have just a concentration of Indian people on my team right now. So we'll see what happens.
That's the market. That's the market to crack.
Yeah. I mean, just from listening, it's definitely an emerging trending movement for them. They are claiming that they are the emerging countries, right? So we'll see. Good products too. Yeah. And then my book came out. Actually, I wish that I could figure out. I don't know if I can put it in this group. My book is a #1 bestseller on Amazon in 8 different categories, including import exports. And I would love it for you guys. It's actually on sale today. It's normally about $20 and it's on sale for $11.11, which is my magic portal number. So there's a big chapter in there on bourbon and our industry, and it's comedic. And I talk about the history of Morse code to memes and how NFTs and crypto and digital or phygital assets moving forward are the way for branding in the future. And I would love it if you would get it. And I say that it's really good. I'm biased, but I'm telling you it's really good because if I was blown away, and I was in doing the research, I was like, you've got to be kidding. You've got to be kidding. So since I had such a good time,
There's your book.
I don't know if that's the right one, that I'm hoping you will too.
That's it, right?
Yes.
After the soup.
Yeah. And then don't forget to follow me when you're on there. See the Pixie Paula Dizzuti under my book there on the left? Yep. Thanks.
Oh, but I have to log in. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to show you my Amazon password.
Yeah, we don't need to know your password. Anyway, so that's about the interesting stuff. We're in the middle of an expansion. Thanks, Stan. In the middle of an expansion and moving the brewery over to the distillery. So that is all under one roof. We just had our first, what I call somewhat A-lister event. We had the 3 guys from The Sopranos, the Fat Boys, come and do a comedy show at the distillery. So that was fun.
Oh, really? Who was it? Which 3?
I can't remember their names. Gerald, yeah. I could run and get the flyer, but anyway, they were hilarious. They were literally the Fat Boys. They were called the Fat Boys on The Sopranos.
So like, what's his name? Steve Siripa or something like that?
Yes, exactly. And then Gerald, I could go get the flyer. I can't remember their names, but they were funny. I guess I didn't watch The Sopranos enough. That was back in the day when you had to pay for HBO or whatever, right?
Oh, you still do, but it's just an app now. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
Well,
so
that's
that's
good.
about,
Good.
yeah, that's stuff.
All right, and we have a returning participant. Josh Morton has just plopped in. Josh, how are you?
Hey guys, I'm okay. Just got off the phone with RNDC. I don't know if anyone's with RNDC or not, but they just had a
Hey,
big
Josh.
realignment. And hey, Vanessa.
It's Vanessa.
And how you doing? And I'm trying to figure out what all that means for me and my brand. And right now, it doesn't feel very positive. But
So what is it that they've announced? What kind of realignment?
They're
so they
reorganizing.
moved. Yeah, are you with them at all, Vanessa?
Yeah, I got the call too. And I knew about a month ago. So yeah, they're making a lot of changes. I'll see where the chips fall.
How many states are you with them?
I think like 5, 4 or 5. Yeah.
4 or 5. And did you get relegated to limited services?
No.
Oh, good for you. Yeah, so we got put on the lower tier, and so we need to figure out how to resolve that. That's going to be a scramble.
So how are they doing limited services? In other words, they're only going to take orders. They're not even going to do any support.
Basically, they're limiting your access to engaging with their sales reps. So they're no longer going to enable us to be able to do incentive programs with their sales reps and present and all that sort of stuff. So
that's no fun.
So, no fun, but better than being lib-dibbed.
Yeah. Right, where you're really on your own.
Yep.
I like lib-dib. I don't know why you don't like lib-dib. I like lib-dib in California. I like them.
Yeah.
I gotta come see you. Josh put my name on his wall. You right?
My tasting room. So we're based in Brooklyn. For those who don't know me, Josh Morton with Barrows and Tents, Ginger the Core. We have a tasting room in Brooklyn that we called our New York tasting room, and the reason for that is since our stuff mixes with everybody, that we brought in 40 other New York distillers because we can sell any other New York State distillers product by the glass or bottle as long as it's made with 74% New York agriculture. To get into the details. And so then we did a map of New York State and a list of all the distilleries and to show wherever them all are. And Vanessa's distillery is one of the 40 that's up on our wall.
Got it. I've been there, so I don't think I saw the map, but maybe I didn't look hard enough.
We did a renovation last spring, and the map went up the last summer.
Okay, that's why I was there prior to that. Yes.
Yep.
Well, that's good. I mean, okay, that's good, but I'm not saying. So, how many states are you in with RNDC?
16.
So, and they put you to limited services?
Yeah, because my volumes are low. And so that it's a combination of the number of states you are in and then the dollar amount you are to RNDC overall is how they make their decision. And so we're just not doing enough volume. We're one SKU, so it makes it a challenge. And as a modifier, our volumes are not as big as base spirits.
All right. Well, let me say hello to Wendy. Wendy, did I not see you at ACSA?
No, I was there.
I know. I was there too.
No, I didn't see you. I didn't get contact.
I forgot that you said you were going to be there, and I was like, how did I not see her?
Yeah, I was there.
How was the show for you?
It was fine. I mean, yeah, it was fine.
And Dan was there. Dan Gallos was there.
I didn't see him either.
No, sorry, Wendy, we didn't get to connect.
Yeah, it was, it's a little bit smaller, intimate and it's a lot of, it seems like there's a lot of simultaneous different things going on, and not as many central gatherings except for the luncheon. You
Yeah.
know? So
Yeah,
it's
I
a
went,
little,
I mean, I went, I thought it was okay. It was the first time I had gone to that one. I'd been to ADI in the past, and yeah, it was fine.
yeah, I kind of I'm more bullish on ADI. I think that there's usually more value in that, and I think the well, it's the number of people. It's probably about half.
And they sold out, right? They're on a waiting list, and I thought that's great marketing.
Yeah, sold out. Wait, get on a wait list. Yeah. So Carrie, you're at the airport. So I guess this means that you didn't make your earlier flight. Are you muted? Oh,
She might not hear you.
I gotta unmute
there
and
you
it's loud, and yes, it's been a nightmare.
uh,
I don't know. Can y'all even hear me?
Yes.
yes, yeah.
Not a whole lot new. I told you last time we were launching that Prosecco still. It's
Yeah.
actually going more favorable than I thought it was going to. I just came from 2 trade shows in South Georgia, and a lot of people are pleasantly surprised that I would say most people don't even know what Glera is. So they're like, what do you mean it's Prosecco with no bubbles? I said, well, it's just basically Glera made as a still wine before like the people in Italy had the money to buy the machinery to put the bubbles in it in the
Oh, really?
Prosecco method.
So it existed previously.
Sorry, what?
So it existed previously.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if everyone got what this is. So Carrie's works for an Italian wine producer in sales here, and you've got New York and Georgia and I don't know how many other.
Well, that's kind of changed, but yeah, I have 4
Okay.
more states now, but whatever, but yes.
Yeah. Anyway, this was it's Prosecco without the bubbles, so it's still
Yeah, but we're
Prosecco.
calling it Prosecco still, but it's a lot for people to wrap their heads around. It was a lot for me to wrap my head around. But I think Sherman's not on here today, but we need to get on a call. The tastings are going to be key, and Ryan's not on here, but the general consumer does not understand it, and I totally get it.
So
My friends and family don't
what is
understand.
the flavor profile like? Is it comparable? How would you compare it to another wine?
Well, I mean, it's interesting because I'm not even sure we should have called it Prosecco, because most people have never just tasted Glera. So it's different than a Pinot Grigio, it's different than a Chardonnay, it's different than a Sauvignon Blanc. I mean, most people have asked me, is this going to be like a bottle of Prosecco that's been in my refrigerator for 4 days and just gone flat? But the answer is no. So I'm not sure if Prosecco is even the right way to go, but it's basically, it's a Glera. It's a still wine. It's packaged in the still package like the rest of the portfolio.
So is the Glera grape sweeter?
Is it, what'd you say? Sorry.
Is the Glera grape, is it sweeter?
It's a little sweeter than Pinot Grigio. It's not as, I would say it's a little sweeter. But it's definitely not a Chardonnay, and I'm not even quite sure how to describe it. But it definitely tastes a lot better than what you think is a flat Prosecco.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense at all. Because that's what everyone has in their head. So it's just like a flat
I
Prosecco.
would be intrigued to taste it just to see where it fits. But I see your point about calling it Prosecco. That's already that you're creating a hurdle. It's like, wait, as opposed to just calling it some
right
new, varietal.
Yeah, it's totally different. It's a whole new category. If you Google it, there are a couple of them out there already, but not really doing anything.
Well, overall, wine still sluggish compared to previous.
I would say wine's pretty much on the decline still because of these cans and the RTDs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's been and I've seen a lot of positioning of.
And then we have
some
spring
wines.
and summer coming up, which is only going to push those things even more.
Mhm.
I think rosé is probably going to be the biggest suffering category coming into spring and summer.
Really? Interesting. Chris, you don't do anything with wines with your. Chris, on solely, do you mix with, you don't do any mixing with wines? I don't think he's listening.
What now? Sorry, I
No,
can't hear.
well, Chris from Solely is.
Oh,
a
I
brand.
thought you were
He was
talking to someone
about-
named Chris. Okay.
Yeah, he was talking about that they pair with other base spirits, but I was just asking if they do
Hey, Chris,
it works with wine.
Chris, they do stuff I know with champagne, but Chris can answer that better than.
I think Chris, can you hear us?
Can hear you guys. I just tuned out for a second. Can you please repeat the
Okay,
question?
no, we were just saying, because Carrie was talking about they have a new wine, which is a still Prosecco, but it's really a different kind of wine. And I was wondering if you do anything with wines, or someone said you might do it with champagne.
Specifically for Soleil or in regards of activation?
Yeah, for Soleil, for your.
Yeah, absolutely. So Soleil, we sell this in as an upgrade to a regular mimosa. Instead of using an orange juice, you can use either our blueberry expression or the mango expression, and it works fantastically well. So maybe I should reach out to Carrie and see if there's some way of cross market.
Mhm. All right, let's see. Oh, that's Josh Morton. I saw a different face. I was like, where did he go? Dan Gallos, what did you learn in Denver this week?
I was in a lot of the business and financial services breakout rooms and was learning a lot of really interesting things about mergers and acquisitions and the landscape of companies getting bought up and what the future holds and how valuations are determined. That was really interesting for me because we have an M&A and a private equity division, not specifically for alcohol and spirits, but to learn how those two things blend together was really interesting. And those were all very well attended by eager and optimistic brands hoping to pull a Clooney or something like that in a few years.
Right. Well, everyone wants to pull a Clooney, but you got to have Clooney to do that.
Yeah.
Wendy, what did you learn?
I actually went there to talk to some vendors about some equipment, some upgrades that we want to do. But I went to the same session. Finance is usually of more interest to me, so I wanted to see what people were saying and what they were doing and the trends in the market.
Right.
So I think I went to almost exclusively all of those. I went to one of the packaging ones, and that was
All right. Let's circle back to Rich.
Hey, everybody.
What do you think of Drizly going away?
Yeah, well, it's we took it as it's an odd story because they were bought 3 years ago so we've known about it this was coming for a long time. We just thought it would just simply exist and just maybe not be as a focus of Uber, but I think somebody woke up on Jan 1 and decided to cut all the costs out of it. So they literally fired everybody and decided to shut the app down as fast as possible. And I think that's just the move of everybody trying to be EBITDA positive or move towards profitability, including Uber. It's the more the macro pressure on them because it just happened so rapidly and the way they messaged it was unbelievable. Like, hey, we're just not going to be here in 2 months, which was
Right.
really weird. And that changes quite a bit of the landscape. We're excited. We own Minibar Delivery. It competed directly with Drizly. It was definitely, it's been around for a long time. So we have Reserve Bar, the main site, which is luxury and discovery and finding things that you wouldn't necessarily find. And then there's Minibar Delivery, which really operated like Drizly. And there's only Minibar Delivery and Drizly and Reserve Bar to some degree. They are product and brand first. When you go to Drizly or Minibar, you're looking at products, the first thing you see, and you're looking at banners and you're looking at, different ways of discovering product and you're shopping by category. When you go into Uber, it's a completely different experience. Whether you're on Instacart, Uber, any of those, any of them, DoorDash, any of them, they sell it by storefront. So everything you do is you go to Uber, then you go to Uber Eats, then you go to grocery, then you pick alcohol. Once you get there, you get a list of stores. You don't know what they have available. You don't know if it's in stock. You don't know the best price. That was the best part about Drizly and Minibar, is it looks at all the stores in your neighborhood and says, okay, who has it the lowest price and has it in stock? That's the value add. Uber's just not going to be the same. And then they went to all the retailers, killed the Drizly contracts, and the Drizly contracts were around 6% of the retail price went to Drizly. Uber is 17 to 22%, 17 for the base model and 22 if you actually want your store to show up. So 22% of the profit. Now, so how do they do that? They mark the product up 10, 15, 20. That's the only way they can do it. They're not going to give away 22% of their profit, all right, to Uber. So every price you see now in Uber is 20% higher than what you would get in Total Wine or whatever your local liquor store is. Totally different model. You know, our rates are 7 to 10%, just like Drizly was on Minibar. So we're excited because Minibar, which really was sort of a dead asset for us because it was behind Drizly and most of the brands preferred to be on Drizly, which I don't blame them. There was 10x the customer base. Now Minibar becomes the sole, you know, sole alcohol delivery focused app out there, and it's great. And we're pushing marketing behind it. We're brands are advertising on it and all that. And so that's so we do a bunch of things, but Reserve Bar, you know, obviously has the premium side. So any of you brands out there that we're not working with, please reach out to me through LinkedIn or whatever, and we'll get you on.
Yeah,
Reserve Bar.
I'm not on Reserve Bar.
You
Black
absolutely should.
Mama. And y'all
Yeah,
have Black History Month. Y'all got all these other people. I'm the
yeah.
first Black woman-owned distillery in U.S. and I still ain't been in Reserve Bar.
Yeah, we got to get together. So let me get you with our folks, okay? And we'll definitely get you up and running because we'd love to
You
have
have
you.
all these other brands who don't have distilleries
I
on
know.
Reserve Bar, except for
I
Chris.
know.
And you
I know.
ain't had me, right, Josh? I got a beef with Reserve Bar.
Don't have a beef with us.
The other day,
We only put brands we work
my
with.
11th year. Hold on, this my Monday or Tuesday was my 11th anniversary. I'm in this 11 years.
Vanessa, Rich is gonna solve that for you. It
I'm
sounds
gonna
like.
take care of you. I'm gonna take care of anybody on the call. Don't worry. And I'm not the salesperson, so don't yell at me.
Sorry, I came a little late, Rich. What's your role at Reserve Bar?
So I actually was just about to get that. So we have these sites that have been around for 12 years. We have Reserve Bar and we bought Minibar, and both have been around for about 12 years. Reserve Bar was started by Diageo as a brand focused website. So that's how we got into this long time ago. Diageo's long gone now, but well, they're on there, but they're long gone from so then what happened is I hit up strategic partnerships. So I'm working with, like, we do Rite Aid's beer, wine, and spirits. So if you go to Rite Aid's website and you go to beer, wine, and spirits, we run that entire section of the website. So my job is to put e-commerce, alcohol e-commerce on other people's website. Simon Pierce, you should be able to buy your product with the glassware. So you can get Vouv and glassware. Simon Pierce can't sell Vouv. We put that alcohol on there. We power all the brands. So Tito's and Moet and we have about 150 brands where we put the e-commerce on the brand website itself. We're working with hotels. I'm working with even Total Wine and Kroger to extend their shelf. So think about Total Wine isn't in certain states. Let's just say they're not in North Dakota. Well, we can actually extend their shelf into North Dakota. So if you're on Total Wine's website and you want to send a gift to your brother in North Dakota, they don't have a shop there. We'll have somebody else deliver it in North Dakota, and we'll offer on demand, and we'll do all those things. So we're extending the shelf on a lot of things, even including retailers. And all of that gives brands an opportunity to advertise. You could advertise on Rite Aid. You can advertise on Hilton, where we run their Minibar program. So if you check into a Hilton and you click the QR code, a Minibar delivery will pop up, and now you're in Hilton. So and we can do it. We do things on white label. So I handle a lot of those kind of things. Work with barbecue guys, which is a huge company on, that sells grills and stuff. Well, they're getting whenever they talk about their bourbon picks, we can make that e-commerce, and we do affiliate revenue with them. So that's the stuff I get. I get to work on all that, what I say, the fun stuff for Reserve Bar, all the other things that you can do anywhere you can imagine. Whiskey Advocate, Whiskey Raiders. We work with all the Raiders portfolio. So we e-commerce that. We put the ability, if you're reading a listicle of 10 of the best bourbons, we're the e-commerce on that. It used to just link away. Now we can actually, you can buy in right in the article through Reserve Bar technology. So we're really a software company and a marketing company. But we're brand first. That's why I said, like with the Drizly, the original question was, what about Drizly leaving? Drizly and Reserve Bar are brand first. They show you the product. They tell you about the product. They want to, show you what's in the bourbon category, not storefront or retailer first, which is what I think most of the delivery services do.
So
So
what's your experience with working with the brand side, the supplier side, not the retailer side, in terms of, because I know I had some interaction with you guys a year ago, a little more than that, and the ball got dropped, kind of, well, on your side, but I didn't follow up, so I'm equally as guilty. I'm on Reserve Bar and I'm on Mini Bar, because I'm assuming if you're on Reserve Bar, you're on Mini Bar. So
Sure.
I'm available, but in terms of wow, that's crazy. In terms of, engaging with you or seeing any sales information or any of that sort of stuff, how does that work? Or that's not your area of...
No, absolutely. I mean, listen, I've been in the company for 10 years, so I know everybody in the, we have a sales organization. I mean, on the brand supplier side, obviously we're incented to work with, how can we help do marketing programs, send emails, do social, do banners, product placement, on the sites, not just Reserve Bar, all the different sites. We offer all those things for brands, but you need to be talking to one of our partnership folks. And so I'll certainly connect you. So if
Do you know Nicole Russo? Is she still with the company?
Yeah, sure. You should be able to.
Okay, so that was my contact back in December.
Yeah. Now it makes, listen, where do we excel? I mean, we're nationwide. We work with all the major distributors. We excel great when you're in more than one state. That's usually a good indicator of whether we're a good fit for you. It's obviously we have shipping partners and we have on demand. That's the big differentiator. We have about 4,000 on demand stores. So if you're in Specs and you're all throughout Specs and you're with Total Wine, you're going to be a good partner with us. We've worked with all the, emerging brands and stuff, but from a marketing perspective, you have to have some kind of, you have to be able to get to the folks. You have to be able to have enough distribution to make your marketing make sense from a ROI perspective or a ROAS perspective. It's e-commerce is a piece of your marketing puzzle. Like I tell people all the time, if we have 2.5 million people in our email database. A lot of you get our emails. Just going out with an email isn't going to get you a lot of sales. Okay, it's just part of your your larger marketing program. It's a combination of tasting, seeing the bottle, and obviously seeing the advertising you're doing, and then the advertising we're doing, so that people actually are doing converting. So e-commerce is a part of it, and obviously if you're in a lot of stores and we have those stores on our network, it really helps. And if not, we can bring you into some stores to help you as well. So that's another thing we do for brands is if you're not available in certain states, we can bring you in. We are at Discus next week. We are talking to all the states regulators. We are at the forefront of the regulatory. There's a lot of people that will ship, through all different places. We do try to get to every single state, have retailers in the state, shipping inside the states, trying to keep everything regulatory positive. Like I said, we work very closely with them. That's a big differentiator, I think, for Reserve Bar. And so sometimes if you're only in a couple states, like Washington DC is a great one, they ship everywhere. You know, sometimes they should be, sometimes they shouldn't be, but we'd rather have a retailer in every state we need to from a regulatory perspective. And
The gentleman I was talking to is Mr. Daisy.
Mr. Daisy.
Yeah. Yeah, they're in DC. So they and I went to their warehouse. It's huge. And they, you know, for me, I would set up my website because, well, I have a website, but he can code into my website and do the filling, but he sends a purchase order. You know, we decide on the price, and then he'll send the purchase order, and then I ship it to DC to his warehouse because they have a retail license, and then they do the shipping. And it was pretty clean. It was pretty good. So I want to utilize them for that. But I need to be in reserve bar because this is a problem. We need to work this problem out offline. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you. I hear you. Well, we compete with those guys, and we're just that next step up. We're a national. We're held to a higher regulatory, equivalent, and we're just, and so we're happy to work with any brands. But we do want to power your website. We would, and we do power it from retailers all over the country. So one of the things we find is that if you're shipping from one location, just if anyone wants to talk about that, if you're shipping from one location, it's just time. If you're shipping to California from DC, it just takes time. And if you're shipping to states through WeShip or something else, it can take 14 to 18 days for people to get their bottles. And there's a lot of customer service around that. And people are confused. And so when and then there's no on demand. How do I get it in, an hour? How do I get it next Tuesday? How can I schedule the delivery? That's what you get when you have enough distribution and enough retailers that are on the network. But again, everything is in layers, and that's a great place to start, is get it as many states as you can from one retailer. It's very clean, very easy. It's just a matter of, from a standpoint of marketing programs and other things, we can talk about all that. So,
you know what? Are you guys working also with with Instacart? I did a full page ad in Bev Media in 7 markets. So if you open up the Bev Media, you'll see a full page ad of Black Mama Vodka.
Yeah.
And it lists now in the 3, because I'm on Pro-V as well. So the 3 states that I get to sell direct to the retailers is New York, Maryland, and DC, which is, on and on premise, and then I want to basically be able to utilize the customers, within those markets as well. So is that how you kind of like partner with?
Yeah, I mean, you said a lot in there. We're not affiliated with Instacart. We don't work,
I got it.
But we would, if we were powering your website, what we would do is we would drive traffic to your website. People would transact there, and we can actually put your distillery in as a direct to consumer distillery where available.
Yeah. Okay.
And even for on demand, we do partner with DoorDash and Uber for the last mile delivery, and FedEx and UPS. Those are the shipping and on demand side. But yeah, the bottles can actually come from your distillery and be delivered in an hour to a radius around your distilleries. I mean, so.
Are you aware of, I don't know, somebody from Uber reached out to my distillery. I don't know if they're trying to cut people out, but it might be because it's Uber. They have the thing where they can just come, people can just pick up from my distillery and just send an Uber. Are you aware of that?
Yeah, that's sort of what I was just saying. That's exactly what I was just saying. Is that you're putting your distillery on the network. So you'd be on Uber.
Is that even legal?
It is if your license allows you in certain states, your license allows you to.
Yeah, New York, we're not allowed to ship in New York State at all.
It's not a ship. It's a pickup. Like if I came to your distillery, Josh, to go buy.
Yeah, we
and pick up from you.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
But the customer technically is supposed to be in our physically in our space to buy the bottle. So we
I would
can't
check. I would
do
check.
it
That's
through
my
any third
understanding.
We got
parties.
to say that in the law. We can go over that. He's
Yeah.
he's my guild president, my guild board member. We'll talk to
Oh yeah,
you.
you guys sort of, yeah, I mean, definitely a third, you know, if they do allow DoorDash and Uber to operate in New York, but I don't,
They
you'd have,
do.
but again, whether they run it through Uber Eats direct, I mean, it's just one channel. That's, you know, you know, the number one thing we stress, and I think someone touched on it earlier, is we stress capturing the PII, the email, the text, and please, the mobile numbers for text from your website. So you should drive your advertising to your website, not to Instacart, not to Uber, not to Reserve Bar. You know, you should own your customers so that you can build groups, you can build lookalikes, you can reach out to them, you can tell them about tastings and events, and you're a big asset that you should have is your list. And so having e-commerce on your website in some form and owning that is better than affiliating out from your website to somebody else, whether there's lots of those parties. We did that for 10 years. That was the old method. The new method is own your customers so that you can retarget, send them things, go back to them. I mean, it all makes perfect sense. It's one of the few industries that isn't there. Like, you know, every other industry in the world owns their customers and knows who they're selling to. And it's such a huge asset if you can figure it out. You know, you get your own data. So that's a big.
Rich, thank you. This has been a very informative segment of discussion.
Yeah,
while we're in the
reach out
midst
to
of
me.
it,
Yeah, reach out to me if you have questions. I'm happy to, you know, could take anything.
I have one question for you.
Yeah.
What are the states that you're not in?
You know, there's a few that we can't get to. Ohio, Pennsylvania, which are big states, which is annoying. But we're in talks with all of them. We're trying to break them down. Utah has some very, very specific rules about knowing your customer before you can deliver it to. They actually do have delivery in a very weird sort of way. Kansas, it's a felony to deliver alcohol right still. And so there, that's for the most part, those are the big ones. Alaska and Hawaii, although I'm bringing
What about
Alaska.
Georgia? Last time I went on Reserve Bar, I got the message saying, sorry, we can't
So a couple
ship
different
or
things.
deliver.
Georgia and some of the others like Kentucky are hand delivery only, either through DoorDash and Uber or your own employees. But it's so you have to be in a polygon, we call it, the radius around the store. So whatever address you had in Georgia, we didn't have a store close enough to hand deliver it. So we are not FedExing and UPS, which would cover all four corners of a state. So each state is different. So some states require that you have to have it hand delivered, and New Jersey just changed. It used to be you had to be hand delivered by an employee of the store. And I think they just opened a couple months ago to have DoorDash and Uber work in those states as well. But you know, so each state's a little different. But that's why in Georgia, if you had put in a different address, we might have said, oh yeah, we can get it from Tower, or we can, or you know, we do have several retailers in Georgia.
But I'm right in the middle of the city, and I can get stuff delivered from Tower all the time. But I
Yeah,
can't
we
get it
just
through-
made, unfortunately, Tower though, unfortunately, didn't put all of their stores on. So it's a mess. So we only do it store by store, and we draw a radius and around each one, and you just are falling out of it. And I mean, and our system has all kinds of crazy rules too. Like if a retailer falls below a certain service level or is whatever, they get knocked off even for a day or 3 days or whatever. So there's all kinds of rules where maybe someday you can get it, next day you can't. It's very annoying. And Georgia's just a tough state to work with, for sure.
I got a question if I can.
Yeah.
I'm in Washington State, and last year the Washington State Liquor and Cannabis Board actually did a sting operation through DoorDash to a local distillery, just like 20 minutes from me. And in our state, the responsibility of proving age, even though it was delivered by DoorDash, goes back to the distillery, and they were the ones being fined.
Yeah, unfortunately, in all states, the regulators can only regulate licensed entities. So in some states, not obviously not Washington, but other states, they have made DoorDash and Uber get a license so that they now
Okay.
fall under the regulatory regime. But
Okay.
you're right. So if they can't if they can't the DoorDash doesn't fall under their regulation. There's no license they can take away from DoorDash, so they go back to the retailer or the distiller or whoever. But I do believe that, at the other side of that, though, is I think DoorDash does a great job. I mean, I think they've built the technology to capture the licenses, check the licenses, get signatures. I get a lot of deliveries. I do a lot of test deliveries. I think their technology is probably more advanced and better than FedEx and UPS, who have fallen behind in that technology. There's an extra $2 or $3 on every order that's going FedEx that has alcohol, so that they capture signature. And nine times out of 10, the signature is just some scribble that the FedEx guy did, and
Right.
they've and so you get both worlds out there, but yeah, they do sting operations, and they're looking for, are you under 21? And you hope DoorDash is doing the right thing. I'm surprised, but they may have tightened up too. They are advancing very quickly through this, and certainly Uber is too.
Well, let's also, Ryan, why don't you, as you're a first-time participant,
Yeah.
so tell us a little bit about Skipjack.
Skip Rock.
Skip Rock, sorry.
Yeah,
Skip-
it's all right. Ryan Himbry. I own Skip Rock Distillers in Washington State. I think we were first licensed in 2009, so been doing this for a while. Background, I did economic development for the agriculture industry. So, I mean, we one of our products is a potato vodka. We make it all from scratch, but I'd known my potato grower for like 25 years. My raspberry liqueur grower, my farmer for probably 15 plus years, 18. Just people that I knew that along the way, the farmers that I knew that were good, they were great to work with. They had good crops, to be able to work with them. Background, I also have a winemaking degree from WSU, but decided I like whiskey a lot more, and a lot more of the freedom and opportunity that goes with spirits. So, but we're a small operation. Washington is our main focus. We're in a little bit of in Idaho and Oregon. Been in other states, Louisiana, New York, and some others along the way, Idaho. But through COVID, different changes. Definitely looking to start growing again, and we've got a pretty good, rich portfolio. And I mean, it's kind of fun for us. We've been able to start doing cocktails in our tasting room, and that's been, excuse me, another fun avenue of exposing our product to our customers and moving forward with that.
So tell us a little bit more about your overall portfolio. You mentioned
So
raspberry liqueur, and you mentioned
so I mean, like we're with Northwest Beverage. Odom is in Washington State. That's our main distributor. Probably our biggest products with them is our raspberry liqueur and our rye whiskey. It's a straight rye. But it's like 4 years old. We ferment distill the rye 100% from ourselves. Raspberry liqueur. So like we started out doing we're doing a lot of whiskey, and then because of the background in ag, we decided, okay, what's missing from also just understanding marketing, what's missing from the marketplace. Potato vodka, there wasn't much, less 1% in the world. So we're close by to the potato fields. We're able to go get them on a regular basis and process them. And so that process is the most inefficient way to make vodka, by the way. I always tell people that it's the worst way to make vodka, but it makes something unique, and it's shelf space. It's allowed us to stay in the market. I think we're in a lot of other grain vodkas have not been able to. We do a black peppercorn. We're actually, from everything I could find, was the world's first black peppercorn vodka. Total Wine and others have their own house brands and such now. That was actually a collaboration with Tim's Cascade Potato Chips founder. And his favorite potato chip was the cracked pepper kettle chip. And he said, "Can you make one like that?" And I'm like, "Yes, I can do that." We have a Northwest style dry gin, if you would. It's got some mint and ginger, and a little drier because they're a little crisper. There's no citrus, but we use lemongrass. Our liqueur line has grown simply out of farmers that I know. They basically, in the early days, call me up. I get an extra 200 pounds of raspberries. I got extra apples. hey, can you do something with it? So we have a raspberry liqueur, like I mentioned, blackberry liqueur, spiced apple, coffee, and a nocino, walnut liqueur. World Liqueur Awards, we've taken top fruit liqueur in the entire world. Nocino has beat all the Nocinos in Italy and Spain, and the different nut liqueurs. So we kind of, when we make with the broader portfolio, we actually still have a real good focus whenever we make our product on making the best one that we can. Rye whiskey, like I said, is a main focus. Our main focus whiskey, kind of unique about it is we use a grain called triticale. It's a wheat rye hybrid developed in Scotland back in the 1880s. Kind of gives it a little sweet nuttiness to it. Enough difference that it stands out. Then we have some one-offs that we do at the distillery. We do a triticale whiskey. We do have some rums. My wife's best friend down in her family down in Louisiana have run the sugarcane co-op, and they have about 1,500 acres down there. And so we've been down there and start, we buy our turbinado sugar direct from the co-op for that. Coffee liqueur, I mean, it's my wife is a 25-year coffee master, and it is, it's one of the highest rated coffee liqueurs in the United States. So it's been doing well for us, and it's rich. It's got a lot of flavor. Small roastery here in Snohomish but Dave Stewart founded Seattle's Best. Seattle's Best sold to Starbucks, and now it's his retirement project, and he's 75 years old, and he's doing great. He does good, really, really good coffee.
That's
So
fascinating.
that is in a nutshell about 13 plus years of Skip Rock.
So what's your perspective on the craft spirits segment and where we are today versus where we were 12, 13 years ago?
Oh boy. I think 12, 13 years ago, I'll be honest, I think a lot of us thought it was going to be very much similar to craft beer, in that there's, we're small new brands, everyone's going to love us and buy us. I think though the problem was there was actually still a lot of really good whiskeys, big brand macro whiskeys on the market and spirits. Whereas when craft beer started, craft beer was shit, or sorry, the big beer was crap. It wasn't that good. And so the small beer was a lot better. With spirits, I think there's been, it's been such an up and down road. For us in Washington State, we went from the liquor store to open, but we have just our tax structure on spirits is outrageous, like 30%. And the state makes more on $1 on a bottle than I do. And it makes it really, really tough. And then I'm speaking from Washington State specifically, from looking at like a big brand that's coming in Washington State, they can make the majority of their margin if they need to in another state. They can maybe pinch their penny and come in at a lower price. Whereas this is my backyard. This is where I need to make majority of my capital for operations and such. So I think we have an uphill road, I'll be honest. And I think recession worries, we've already seen that in Washington State. I work a lot with like wedding venues and special event facilities and such. And this is the lowest year they've had for reservations in about 15 years. And that is on a industry kind of wide basis. Everyone who's talking is like, oh, this is quite different. They're seeing people being more reserved with their dollars. And I was lucky. We only saw like a 3% drop from 22 to 23. Whereas I know a number of my friends, they saw 20 to 40% drops from their craft spirit sales. And they're much bigger than I am, and bigger marketing budgets and stuff. So that said, I think it doesn't take much to make it a huge impact to our bottom line as a small brand. One new account can make the trajectory turn around 180 degrees. If it's a decent account, if it's got legs that can expand from there. So I think it's finding opportunities to seriously relook at marketing, relook at expansion opportunities, growth, because that's the only way we're going to survive. And I think a lot of others in the same boat as I am. But like I said, it doesn't take a lot to turn our ship around versus a big brand.
Mhm.
So
With
level of
your
optimism,
tasting
I
room,
guess.
when did your tasting room open?
2010.
Okay.
So we're small. I mean, my town's a little 9,000 person town, but we're close by to Seattle, about a half hour, 40 minutes. And we've done formal testing and a couple different times. No, over the majority of our tasting room traffic comes from outside Snohomish County, and we're about 900 to 1 million people county.
How much of your business is direct from your location versus wholesale?
2023, it was about 33%. And I think part of it was we had a slowdown with other distributors in other states. Like Idaho was kind of shut everybody down that wasn't doing the big brands. Utah, my rep died, so he passed away, which sucks. But and then just a decline in Washington distributor sale, but we also had an increase in our retail sales and cocktails opportunity.
Mhm.
So training my staff to, hey, you're having a cocktail, an old fashioned, buy a bottle of whiskey, goes with it.
Mhm.
Buy a bottle of Vada Bing cherries or something like that.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's because I think that's obviously with all of the SKUs you have, that's an opportunity to do a lot of cocktails and to do.
It is. Yeah. With our laws, we have to make cocktails from only spirits made in Washington State. And thankfully there's some really good products made in Washington State, like phenomenal products. And we can use sparkling wine and vermouth as well. And Washington State, we've got, pretty much anything really that we need. It's just sometimes harder to get, like a Fernet substitute. Yes, we have that, but it's an hour and a half away to get it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, interesting. I'm glad. Thank you for joining and
Yeah.
sharing your story. And hopefully we'll see you on future Drinks Professionals networks.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any a topic they want to throw out for
Well,
discussion or question?
I have one comment and then one question for Vanessa afterwards. First, I wanted to confirm I'm seeing on an anecdotal basis with my tasting agency, a little bit of concerning sales data. So all across categories, we're seeing same store, same price point, everything the same, lower sales through compared to previous years. All across. So this is not brand specific, this is industry specific. And that brings with it that both distributors and retailers are just attempting to lower their inventory levels, which is just not good developments for any of us. I had a question for Vanessa if she's still around.
Yes, she is. She's back.
Okay. Vanessa, you had mentioned that you are on Provi, and then if I understood correctly, you are able to sell in DC and Maryland directly from you as distillery to off-premise retail without going through a distributor. Is that correct? Or did I misunderstand?
Yep.
And
Correct.
so
Fill out in Maryland, you have to fill out an out-of-state distiller's license and then prepare once you send that in to Maryland, then they're going to license you as an out-of-state distiller's license. And then they'll put you in the system and you have to do the monthly taxes when you sell to retailers. Then they'll set you up on an account and training in doing that. And then the same thing and I have salespeople there. If you have a person there, like I have family there in Maryland, DC. So if you have people there, you also get them a solicitor's permit, which is $50. And it only costs $100 for the out-of-state distiller's permit. But you have to give them your federal base and your state license, and they confirm that. And then you can do that. They could do that with wine too. So then, but you have to remember you're doing the monthly compliance, the monthly recording like you do on TTB. So you got to do that. And then in DC is you sell it to a retailer, they have to fill out the ABRA import, whoever you're dealing with. So they fill that out with their license on there. And if you have a person that can sell for you, they have to get an ABRA solicitor's permit as well in DC.
And so for Maryland,
In New York, I'm in New York. So that just
okay.
goes without saying.
Yeah. For Maryland, I believe, but I've never worked in Maryland, that there's county specific regulations. Is this for the entire state of
Montgomery
Maryland, or is this
County
just
is
for?
excluding the control state, which is Montgomery County.
Okay.
Montgomery County is not as big as Prince George County, for me, so Montgomery County excludes that, and it says that. In Montgomery County, you just go to Montgomery County and you deal with that section. That's the control portion. All right.
And the permit that you mentioned, are you dealing with?
I hope you're charging me a good price for all this information I'm giving you. Just remember this, y'all. We got it recording, right, Mike?
Are you dealing with?
That's pretty much it in a nutshell. You can go on there
Are you
and
dealing
read
with
it.
one entity, for like the free counties in Maryland, or is this one entity that handles all of them, or is it really kind of county by county that you have to deal with some administrative government body?
No, I'm dealing with this. We're talking about this is the state of Maryland. You go to the state of Maryland is the controller.
So Maryland's
the controller's office.
To clarify, because I think that went by a little fast because
you broke up.
Yeah. To clarify, Maryland is a weird state. It's basically an open state for everything but Montgomery County. And Montgomery County acts like a mini control state within Maryland. It's the weirdest thing ever.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
but Montgomery County is definitely small. You just go to Montgomery County, you fill out the paperwork, and then they're the control state. And then you go to the it's the controller's, Maryland controller's office that you have to apply for the out-of-state distiller's permit. And then they send you a full package like the IRS after that. That you got to fill out.
Follow-up question. You mentioned you are on Provi. Are you advertising on Provi?
Yeah, I'm advertising on Provi, right? Like literally right now. I did the Bev Media, and then the advertising in Provi is through like the Instacart thing. So I got to go take a look at it because my advertising only came out in February. I paid for February, May, because I have Juneteenth coming up, and July for Vodka Month. And that's all the money I'm spending because it's costing me an arm and a leg as a small business. But I figured I have the money to do it. Plus, I'm doing a couple of other things. I want to do geo. I want to do, more on the website, like with like the Reserve Bar. So there's a lot of different things that I'm going to be spending more money on marketing.
Did you do like some A/B testing when you don't advertise for a month and then you advertise for a month to actually be able to track the direct results?
You mean split testing? Yeah, I did that. I did that early on. That just goes without saying. You want to definitely do that with anything that you're doing, not just Provi. That's just with anything.
Are you seeing results? I mean, do you think it's worth it?
I always see results because I have a following anyway. Okay. So I have 65,000 online customers because I also have teas and other things. So I have people that buy my stuff, over the years, and I do have their information, just like how he was talking about capturing, so I utilize my list. I've actually exhausted it. So now I'm just trying to move in a different direction with placements. And then when I'm doing tastings or events where I know I'm going to be in a specific area, I'm utilizing that. Also, too, I do contract manufacturing for other people. That's the other thing. I'm not just my distillery. I do, I make for other brands too. So that helps. Yeah.
All right.
All right, are we
Thank you,
done?
Melissa.
Are we done with the interrogation?
Yeah.
Because I feel like I was just strip searched or something. Like,
All right. Ask me anything you want about Texas State.
don't worry, I'm hitting you up after we get off, okay? Because I definitely want to get my stuff going on in Texas. You know,
Okay.
Texas is very funny. Most people don't know that to get into the hotels, you got to go through either specs. Like really, specs seems like they could just control everything.
So
At this point.
So on premise, there's a fourth tier, which is a major headache.
Yeah.
Any distilled spirits product that wants to be sold into an on-premise account has to go through what they call a Class B wholesaler. And a Class B wholesaler
Yeah.
is essentially a retailer that has an additional license, and they add on these tax stamps on the bottle, which is an additional tax. It's not us, the brands, paying for what they call the mixed beverage tax, which is consumptions in the on-premise. And so Specs is the main entity doing that, but there is in Dallas, you have Goody Goody, you have Seagulls, you have Twins in Austin.
I didn't
and
know
so-
Goody Goody was still in business. Okay, that's
Well,
good to
only
know.
for that. So they still have a handful of stores. Seagulls actually filed for
Okay.
bankruptcy a couple of years back, and they
Well,
only
they got
do
bought by
that. And then
Twins.
exactly, and then they got bought out by Twins.
Oh, okay. Let me
Yeah,
ask you a
so-
question too, everyone. I don't know how it is in Texas. How is the low proof? Low proof sell well, and is everyone seeing low proof selling well? Now, I'm not talking about just RTDs in the can, just low proof,
Like
20%.
no to low.
Below.
Right? No
Yeah,
alcohol.
yeah.
No alcohol.
Is that selling well in like Texas and Washington? I'm just curious.
I can give you also my anecdotal experiences. I think that the more educated consumer is not making that big of a, well, I'll put it the other way. The very old school thinking, and I think that Texas is very old school in a certain way and a little bit lagging behind the coast. The old school spirits buyers think that with alcohol, it has to be maximum buck, but maximum bang for the buck in terms of ABV level. So they think that it's great, the higher the higher ABV level and the lower the price point, the more the consumer is going to like it. And that's not true at all, as we all know. I have my product is at 12%, so it's actually for a distilled spirit low. We're not in the RTD category where they try to compete with beers, and generally I get less comments than I was expecting before we launched about the ABV level. Now, granted, I don't think that Texas is very indicative for the rest of the nation in that regard. So maybe Josh can chime in, or any other brand owner.
I mean, things that I have seen, which are more industry-wide, are showing that certainly not eclipsing alcohol, but there's definitely growth, especially in younger consumers in the low to no categories.
I would say I see a lot of additions to menus in the non-alc. And if that, I don't know what the volumes are. Like I know, but everyone sort of feels like they need to have one or two non-alcs or three non-alc mocktails, cocktails on their menu now. So I see a lot more of that. And then as far as the low alc, it's rare that I see a menu where it calls that out. I just kind of feel like, I mean, the spritz is a thing now, and so like, but I don't really know on the low alc. I don't quite see that being something that's called out in the same way. I know that there, a lot of menus will try and put a cocktail or two that has a low alc, but it's not quite as a much of a focus as the non-alc. And the non-alc, I'm really curious on that because I think from a bar's perspective, they're able to upsell a non-alc drinker to a $12 non-alc cocktail instead of a $4 soda. So I think that they like doing that. But on the non-alc, the low alc, it's a harder marketing message, I think.
That's a good point about the menus having no alc, but then again, there's also increasing menus that have had hard seltzers, which in essence is a low alc beverage. But
now, if I can make a comment on that, I actually think that it's a big mistake to lump in together no alc and low alc, because I absolutely agree with what Josh said. There's an absolute need for no alc in a cocktailing environment, but no alc and low alc are very, very different categories. The reason why they're lumped in together is because this is a trend that initially came out of the UK, and Seedlib was started in the UK. And in the UK, there's no free tier system, which means that the points of sales for no alc and low alc can actually be the same, which is completely different from the US. And this is just a term that has been kind of been lumped together, and we now also use in the US, but it's two totally separate sales channels if you think about it. And in addition, so I'm working a bit with Josh and Barrels Intense in Texas. Josh's product is at 22%. So for a distilled spirit, it's in the liqueur category, right? But I have never heard from any consumer caring if it's 22% or 24% or 18%. That really doesn't play a role at all. I'm talking about from the marketing side. Obviously, it plays a role in terms of liquid, right?
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you all. Thank you, Chris, for joining us, and Ryan for the first time, and Rich, it was good to have you back. Good discussions today. Paula, it's always good to see you, and Josh, thank you, and Vanessa, you're always the star of the show, and Stephanie. Paula, any final comments? Because we didn't get a lot of conversation with you today.
Me?
Yeah.
Nope.
Okay.
Hopefully when I get back from India, I'll have much more to say.
Yeah, well,
Wait, I'm going on my biggest world global trip, 28 hours. I'm excited about it. I'm excited about Forbes, and they have this, the Brillo app where you can connect with people that are already attendees. And so I've already connected with Shania Twain and Meg Ryan and Jamie Lee Curtis and Katie Couric and Viola Davis and Patti LaBelle and Judy Blume. I'm just, Susie Orman. I'm over the top excited about this.
Well, that's great.
Maybe I'll never come back.
Paula, congratulations and good for you. Well deserved.
Paula, sorry.
Thank you all. Stephanie, when is our next?
So wait,
Paula,
I think.
Sorry. Yeah,
well,
Paula.
Hold on. Josh has a question. Josh has a question.
I missed the introduction, unfortunately. And I tried to find your website, but I don't think I have the right URL, so I couldn't find out more information about you. Did you already tell everybody what? Oh, here, local choice spirits. Okay.
Yeah, if you just Google Pixie Paula, Pixie, that's the fastest way.
Yeah.
So localchoicespirits.com, is that your website?
It's one of my websites.
Your website.
I own several distilleries and breweries, so there's lots of websites.
Yeah.
Got it. Cool.
We'll make sure you get connected, Josh.
All right,
yeah.
thanks.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Absolutely. So our next gathering is Friday, April 5th. 11:30 Eastern. I will be sending out everyone's contact information along with the recording of this session and the date for the next meeting. So if you can make it, let us know, and you'll see those announcements come out over the course of the next few weeks. And invite your friends. It was nice to have some different people on here today. So please continue to invite others that can contribute to the conversation.
All right. Thank you all. Until next time.
Absolutely. Safe travels, Pixie. Congratulations.
Thanks. Bye.
Yes, congratulations. All right, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks all.